my highlights of this year's Watches and Wonders. Welcome back everyone to another episode, and again I'd like to talk about this year's edition of Watches and Wonders. And the topic of today is going to be my personal highlights and the watches I really liked the most. So Watches and Wonders is over, and I've been back a couple of days and going through all the footage, all my videos and all my photos I've taken throughout the week. I was in Switzerland. And let me tell you this, it was so good to be back. So good to see all the people. The most fantastic part of all was to meet those people that I've been writing to on Instagram over the last couple of years. And yeah, to finally personally meet them, it was amazing, to say the least. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was great. The atmosphere at the fair was fantastic. Everybody loved it. Great to be back, and I can't wait for the next edition of Watches and Wonders, to be quite honest. There were tons of watches presented. A lot of brands were there at the fair, and there was a lot of creativity, innovation going on. A lot of the brands particularly did not present tons of watches. They presented a couple of them, and I think that's also a very, very nice idea. So every piece has its own stage basically and actually gets noticed. Yeah, it was actually a pain in thinking back that everything was presented on one day. Some of the magnificent pieces were actually overlooked. Not to overlook anything, I had enough time to go through all of my footage and basically pick out my personal favorites, my personal highlights of the fair. I have 3 watches that I'd like to show to you that are my personal highlights of the show. And to kick it right off, we will start with Lange und Söhne. And Lange und Söhne, you know my passion for them, and you know my passion for one particular piece. Yes, namely the Odysseus. And the Odysseus presented this year was made out of titanium and had this beautiful light blue grayish dial. And let me tell you, this is just an incredible piece. I had it on the wrist. I really enjoyed it. Did not like giving it back. It felt kind of hard, but that's how it goes. You get to look at them, but you have to give them back. However, I really like the watch because of this beautiful dial and the fact that the watch was super light due to it being made out of titanium. I just love this watch. I just love this model because of the 2 big windows. It reminds me of the Zeitwerk, and I think the Odysseus is just the little brother of the Zeitwerk. And Lange & Söhne is one of my favorite brands. I really enjoy what they do, and again, they created a magnificent piece. They also presented a couple of other pieces, although this was one of my personal highlights. This particular model is limited to 250 pieces. I won't get my hopes up. However, it was nice seeing it, and I loved it, and I was happy and fortunate enough to generate some content around it to be able to show it to you. If you ever want to go traveling again and you have to enter a new time zone, well, there is a new watch for this that will definitely go under the radar. The brand I'm talking about is Parmigiani. And the watch I'm talking about is their Tonda PF GMT Rattrapante. And this watch stole my heart. I love these simple mechanisms that show 2 different time zones. And the coolest part of it all is that not only is this Tonda extremely slim, it is also made out of steel. It has a very minimalistic dial. It has a second hour hand that can be operated with the pusher on the side. And this is so cool because if you don't need the second time zone, the second hour hand just disappears under the main hour hand. Let's say you're traveling somewhere, you have to move, like, for example, a couple of hours forward. Then you fly back there is a pusher on the crown. You press the pusher on the crown, the second hour hand moves back under the first hour hand, and voila, you have a time-only watch. As simple as it gets, I'd say, for a GMT watch. Nothing to do, nothing to think about. Super easy, super usable. I love it. It's a fantastic watch. You can use it on a daily basis. We need to talk about the strap options for this particular watch, but nevertheless, it looks amazing, and this blue dial really goes very well with tons of different kinds of outfits. Last but not least, I have, of course, one watch that still is a sporty watch, or a sports watch somewhat. The brand won't surprise you, it's a Rolex. The watch I am going to put up here as my number 3 on the list of highlights is this year's Yacht-Master in 40mm with the gem set. First of all, I had the opportunity to have a look at the Rolex novelties. I was able to touch and feel them. I was able to put this particular watch on my wrist. The watch fit perfectly to my wrist. It was the right size strap. It was just perfect. I put it on, it fit. This gem set is inspired by the Aurora Borealis. It's made up of different kinds of colored sapphires and of course diamonds. It has the diamond set on the bezel, the gem set on the bezel of course, and it also has diamonds set on the case. I just read up on this watch as well. The bezel is actually also still functionable, so it's turnable. So it's a very cool watch, especially on the Oyster Flex. I like the way it looks, I like the gem set, I like the colors that are put into this mix. Definitely not gonna go under the radar with this particular model, but however, still one of my personal highlights, and what can I say, I like gem sets. 3 of my personal highlights, 3 great watches from 3 amazing brands. There are tons of other watches that I have on my list that I really liked, but I wanted to combine it down to 3 particular models that I found amazing, stunning, and that just felt good on the wrist. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned because there will be more content on this year's edition of Watches and Wonders. I will go hands-on with a couple of different brands, a couple of different watches. So yeah, stay tuned. There will be more to come in the next couple of weeks. And please don't forget to subscribe, because if you're not subscribed, you might miss out on this fantastic content. And if you want to see some behind the scenes footage, if you want to, I don't know, see me walking around the fair from last week, you can go to my Instagram and check out everything. That being said, as per the usual, as always, if you feel like it, put a thumbs up. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Watches. Come on.